but the sun is back out, and we have two of the best women's soccer programs in the country. Number 20, the Colorado Buffaloes, the home team, and Washington State, number 7. Both of these teams unbeaten coming in. The Cougars, the only unbeaten, untied team in the nation at 10-0, and the Buffaloes 9-0-3. Thad, we've got a fantastic matchup. I can't be more excited for this one.
First ranked opponent for the Buffaloes this season. They've not played a top 25 team yet. They're playing one that's firmly in the top 25. Now their best ever ranking in program history. Cougars at number 7 in the polls, Colorado at number 20. And you mentioned it, unbeaten, 10-0. In fact, of 5 unbeaten D1 programs in the NCAA, Washington State the only one without a tie either. So this is a completely unbeaten, untied 10-match team, the Cougars.
The Buffs working it in deep here. It's going to set up a corner. You're talking about 10 games. They've done as good as any team can imagine. You've got 10 matches. You've got 10 wins for the Cougars, but the Buffaloes very good here at home, 5-0-1 at Prent Tubb Field. Aaron Greening, number 16, is heading into the corner to take this kick. Buffs setting up with a little pressure early.
It'll be those details like corner kicks early on to see who establishes offensive supremacy, and the Buffaloes get one in the corner right at the top, and they put a goal away right off the top.
Just like that, the Buffs are in front. A minute 21 into this one. My goodness, that's how you want to start things off. If you're the Buffaloes, get on the board early. Buffs fans loving it here as Taylor Korniak from Aaron Greening right in the opening couple of minutes. Just like that, a corner kick, and it's in the back of the net.
Wow, great ball from Greening, who returned from injury. Korniak, who just returned from injury herself. They both missed a chunk of games, and they pair up 1:21 into the clock against the number 7 ranked team in the country. The Buffaloes coming off of a double draw weekend in Arizona, having drawn with Arizona and Arizona State. Buffaloes wanted to establish themselves.
She was moving deep into the box there. I can't imagine that was the game plan, was to not mark her at that height, 6'1". She's the main target almost every time in these corner kicks, these set pieces.
Well, a redshirt junior goalie for Washington State, Rachel Thompson, the current Pac-12 goalkeeper of the week, had a great week last week, selected as the Pac-12's goalkeeper of the week, and immediately surrenders a goal.
Heading the other way now. The Cougars got a great offense themselves. So we've got two high-powered offenses. That gets all the attention when you look at it. Both teams averaging over 2 goals per game, as Greening is down right now. Aaron Greening, number 16, had the assist, the senior from Piedmont, California. She's getting some attention from the referee. Robbie Huller is our referee today. Greening back up on her feet, but she went out against Colorado State very early on in the season, and she has been back. It's great to see her back, returned against Arizona State, but certainly need her out there along that back line if you're the Buffs.
Aaron missed 8 matches, came back against the Sun Devils, ball right in front of the goal again, and Barton's going to clear that out for now before the goal just scored. Taylor Korniak, her 4th goal of the season and the 2nd assist of the season for Aaron Greening.
This one's sent behind the net there. It's going to be another corner. Maddie Harrow, 19, senior from Corona, California, will take the kick. She also has 9 assists. When you look through the game notes, that you think you see Taylor Korniak, oh, she's way up there in assists, and then all of a sudden on the other side, Maddie Harrow also right there. So they're tied in assists, although Korniak already has a couple of points here today. This one sent in the middle of the box. Korniak heads that one out of there.
On those 9 assists, that is number 2 in the NCAA. They are tied, Harrow and Korniak, with those 9 assists for the 2nd most in NCAA soccer. Of course, leading the Pac-12 with that 9 assist mark, and an opportunity there for Harrow. So a corner for the Buffaloes, converted into a goal, and Washington State can't match that on the other end. How about J.J. Tompkins?
She has been fantastic. I'll tell you what, What a keeper. I mean, you're talking about a career save percentage, career goals against average. Number one in program history here is we got a whistle. This is going to go against the Cougars. That's Morgan Weaver, number 6, a junior from University Place, Washington, one of the best players on this Cougars team, especially offensively. But Tompkins, she has been fantastic. The redshirt junior from Phoenix, Arizona, a captain, and as we talked about with those numbers, career goals against average and save percentage, number 1 in CU program history.
And currently number 5 in the NCAA this season, the .907 save percentage. That's the 5th best mark in college soccer. That foul that was just issued, if you look at game style, it's sort of strategy employed by both of these programs. Pretty clean game, really, pretty athletic game that they both play. For the Buffaloes this season, 7 yellow cards, no red, and for Washington State, 5 yellow cards, no red. Likely to be a, you would think, based on what we've seen so far this year, a pretty open flow game where you're going to see a lot of athleticism, a lot of movement, not a lot of kind of grinding it down and mucking things up. And of course, that's when you've got talent like you have on the pitch today, you want to see them run and open things up a little bit. So we'd expect, we saw a goal right out of the gates at 1:21 in. We'd expect a fairly intense, high-speed match.
And if you're watching at home, obviously that you got to love the sound of that, what Thad's telling us about, because these are two highly skilled programs, and obviously the rankings demonstrate that. We're talking about Pac-12 soccer here. So certainly the Conference of Champions, and certainly a lot of talent on the field. It was displayed early, but you mentioned it, Thad, there's a lot of firepower out here. So the one marker on the board right now for the Buffs, I don't think it will be the last here today.
A lot of firepower and also a lot of Cougars. 30 players on their roster. Take up an entire plane on their flight out here for the mountain trip. They'll play at Utah on Sunday as Colorado will host Washington on Sunday. But 30 people, and 19 of those are underclass. They've got 19 freshmen and sophomores. 4th-year head coach Todd Schulenberger, so he's kind of now filling in. You know, you kind of prime the pump when you start your career. It takes a couple years to get your players in. He's still got 19 of 30 players as underclass. I asked him before the match, that 30 players, how do you manage that? That's a lot of moving parts. He said, yeah, we might have gotten a little greedy in recruiting the last couple of years, but we had so many good kids. The other thing that speaks well of for Washington State is they land their recruits. Because I asked, I said, did a few more kids accept than you were assuming would? Or some kids not leave the program when you took over? And he said, I don't know, but it's working great. We're happy with it. They got 30 on the roster.
A big roster, and there's a number of Cougars. We saw them in the parking lot doing some tailgating.
Yeah, they brought a little crowd.
They kept traveling down from Pullman, Washington.
Well, Washington State has 4 Colorado kids on the roster, and that's I was talking to Coach Schulenberger about it, and he said, I said, what are the states? What are they? Because Colorado's a great club/prep soccer talent state, right? And he said, oh, absolutely. And he said Texas, California, Colorado kind of in one breath. I said top 5 state in the union for soccer talent. He said, oh, without a doubt. And he went straight to California, Texas, and Colorado. So you got 4 Colorado kids on this Washington State roster, including some freshmen. Gracie Armstrong, a freshman at a Legacy High School, which is just over there. You can probably spit to Legacy from here in Broomfield, Colorado. So Gracie there, Sydney Pulver out of Regis, Brianna Alger out of Lewis Palmer as Tompkins picks one up. And they also have Micaiah Minnis out of Doherty High School, who graduated out of Doherty last year. So a couple of freshmen, couple of sophomores from Colorado on the Washington State roster.
Minnis, defender, only Cougar to play every minute this season, center back. And as a freshman jumping in, a little Hannah Cardenas, effect there. And getting back to that Colorado as a hotbed, every team that comes in here, you see it. There's a lot of California teams, obviously, that come in as far as the Pac-12. But every team that comes in, there's Colorado players all over the roster because no matter how far away it is, they're recruiting up and down the Front Range in particular here. There's so much talent. And Coach Danny Sanchez, of course, trying to keep the best ones here. This one's sent across. It's in deep. It got punched out. A couple of players went down. It got flicked on, and the defense able to clear it out momentarily. But
I see you keeping the pressure on.
Yeah, Kinsner headed that ball right back up.
And Jorian Bockham had an opportunity in the middle, and Bockham is explosive. She's quick. She's dynamic. Just about saw her strike from close range.
And somehow we've gone almost 10 minutes, Thad, and we haven't mentioned Tatum Barton's name yet, the junior from Littleton, Colorado. 11 goals on the season, 24 points. A huge offensive threat for the Buffs.
Second most goals in the NCAA this season, Barton. Header comes across and the follow by Bockham. Boy, Buffs putting on some great offensive pressure, Brad.
Massey keeps it in, and finally the Cougars able to relieve some of that pressure, but Greening moved up here, able to control it. Sends the ball back in, trying to find Korniak off of her head, but well defended there. And now Thompson gets wiped out. Barton's going to be the guilty party there as Thompson is down. Rachel Thompson, keeper from Alaska.
That will be a yellow card, but, you know, there are certain kinds of yellow cards. That was a good aggressive play by Barton. Ball was loose, and you know, she did get a little extra something at the end of that, I guess. But okay, so on second look, Tatum took an opportunity there. She did pick up a yellow card. Pretty nice play in low by Rachel Thompson. Thompson took over for Ella Diedrich, the senior. The redshirt senior was injured against Idaho for Washington State, one of the top goalkeepers in the country, unable to go this season for Washington State. Yeah, pretty good job by Rachel Thompson, the redshirt junior, of picking up and carrying on. She won a Goalkeeper of the Week award. But interesting, I was talking to Danny Sanchez about this. You know, all good goalkeepers are quick to just credit their defense. In both of these programs, Cougars and Buffaloes, that's what it's all about. They have great goalkeepers, but you're not a great goalkeeper if you don't have a great back line. And for all the talent we're talking about, the cork in the back here for both of these clubs is stout.
Yeah, two real anchors here defensively as Barton's trying to run onto this one. It's played back to Thompson. She tries to send it out of there. Massey has it, trying to keep the pressure on. And you're talking about two great communicators as well when you're talking about these goalies, and that's part of it, certainly crediting that back line, but you've got to be in constant communication with that back line, and everybody's got to be on the same page. It's all part of it. And these two goalies, great communicators. Tompkins, intense, full of passion out there.
Yeah, I love as you say that. I look over at JJ Tompkins, and you know the ball's at the other end, and she's down here barking out instructions. I was off headset for the Colorado State match here early in the year, so when we're sitting here, you don't hear her as well. That match, I really got an appreciation for the communication and positivity out of Tompkins in goal.
There's a juicy rebound here for Bockham. She's able to put it in, a flick of the right foot, and it's in the back of the net. 2-0 Buffaloes.
Relentless pressure from Colorado, overwhelming the Cougars early in Boulder. Washington State comes in ranked number 7, the highest ranking ever for the program. Of course, coaches downplay that. They know this is going to be a battle, and Colorado, known for early goals this season, for piling up some points early in matches, and they do it here with a couple. They got one from Korniak, and now Bockham on a mess in front of the goal. Thompson got laid out, the goalkeeper. Great work by Bockham as she adjusts, goes back to the right foot, and sends it home. And there's a mishandle, and that was the key. But Bockham, you're not going to survive that. She had 33 goals in her 3 years at LSU. She has carried on at CU as a scoring dynamo, and the Buffs go up 2-0 on the Bockham goal.
Bockham, 9 goals this season, 42 in her career. And she came in 3rd among active players in the NCAA in career goals with 41. Now she's up to 42. And you couldn't ask for a better start if you're head coach Danny Sanchez and your Buffs. You got this high-power offense attacking from the very first second. This match started from kickoff, and within 13 minutes, 12-plus minutes here, they've got 2 tallies on the board.
Smorgasbord of stats, you know, which in soccer isn't always the case, you know. But if you're covering the Buffaloes this year, you get this buffet of statistical fun you can have. The Buffaloes came into today with 34 goals on the season. That was the second most in NCAA soccer, 1 behind Mercer. They're now ahead of Mercer. They've already scored 2 in the first 13 minutes of this one, so 36 goals on the year.
That one ruled not a goal. Tompkins couldn't handle it. It was right at her, but it came off of her hands.
Hit the crossbar.
And then went down. Even it had a chance with some spin off of that. The entire bench and sideline for Washington State up off the bench here. Want an explanation.
There's a new Buffalo I'm a big fan of, as is Danny Sanchez and all Buffalo's fans. Emily Groark went down. She was fouled. The freshman Groark out of Missouri got her first collegiate goal at Oregon State. Groark, another dynamic addition to the Buffalo's program. Well, that was a tough ball for Tompkins. It slid through her hands. I mean, that would have been a misplay. We had a misplay on the other end from the Cougars goalkeeper, Rachel Thompson, that let Bockham score. Buffalo's again threatening.
Barton fighting for it there in the box. This got sent out of there, but now along the sidelines here in front of Danny Sanchez.
We were asked before the match, Brad. The officials just stopped by and said, "Hey, do we have replay review over here?" And we don't. I think that probably would have borne out that was not a goal, but it was close. it was right on it.
That was Megan Massey ripping one with a big left foot. That one just over the corner of the goal. Let's take another look at that last attempt, and based on that bounce, hard to say whether it was all the way across that line. It
Not hard for me to say.
It was partially, at least.
Good look, Buff Vision. Eric Poloni directing today, and also catering and whatever else he does.
He does it all.
Nice job by our camera crew. Pretty good look there, and I think Cougars had an argument.
Definitely an argument at the very least.
They're down 2-0, and you don't see that much out of Tompkins either. She created an opportunity there off the hands and dodged a bullet. But it's hard to get in. Keep trying to get in a couple thoughts on the Buffalo's offense, and their offense keeps interrupting those thoughts because they're attacking the Cougars.
Yeah, look out here as Korniak goes down. That time that ball got sent back out. Morgan Weaver, leading scorer, 14 points for the Cougars, plays it up ahead. Webb with a nice play to stop that. Elise Bennett had that ball into the box for the Cougars, but Kaylee Webb, the freshman, able to make a play.
Good to see Erin Greening moving around pretty well. Don't see any limitation in her movement. Of course, after missing time with an injury, after the injury in the CSU match, and then earlier here she was down near the defensive end line for the Buffaloes. Just an update on that. She looks like she's moving and playing as you would hope she would be, with the follow-up to that ding up she had earlier in the match. So we're talking about that CU offense now, 36 goals on the year. And they already set a program record with 40 assists before today. 35 was their previous high, done 4 different times, including last year. They've already surpassed their season assist mark, set a record there, and they've added to it today. And this offense with those 36 goals, they have the #1 and #2 goal scorers in the Pac-12 in Barton and Bockham.
Corner here, this one's bent into the box. Corner going up high, and she got cut down, and that foul's going to go against her. A little too aggressive flying in for that one. Taylor Korniak, the guilty party.
Listed at 6 feet 1 inch tall, and you add to that leaping ability or athleticism. I mean, she is head and shoulders above everybody on these opportunities. What a weapon for Danny Sanchez, the attacking midfielder. She, with those 9 assists, she had 4 assists in the match against Missouri. That set a record for the Buffaloes for single game assists. And that's what you love out of a face of a program player. She dishes it as well or better than she scores it.
She got the Buffs on the board earlier today in the 2nd minute, and that's when we were watching that replay, you're going, I don't know if that's what the Cougars had in mind. She had a little bit too much room to run on. Now, this last ball, she got, she was marked tightly and ended up committing the foul, being too aggressive, but that's probably what the Cougars wanted to do in the 2nd minute when she was able to get that corner and get her head on it and put it in. She had a little too much room to step into that one, or walk into that one, I should say, and put it in the back of the net. I do want to go back to one point, Thad, that you made. 36 goals as this one's put in again. Stopping the offense. Here's another chance. That one got deflected. It's not cleared out of there. And this call is going to go against the Buffs. We've talked a lot about the offense, as we should. Historical season so far for not just as team and individually, but on the flip side, they've given up 5 goals. 36-5 on the season. Are you kidding me?
Well, Washington State's right there too defensively. These two are the finest defensive programs in the conference. Of course, most of that through non-conference play. They've each played 3 conference matches now, and But the bulk of that work, and Danny Sanchez said that to me earlier, the Buffalo's head coach, he said, you know, a lot of the work we did and the numbers that you see, it's a result of non-conference. It's not going to look like that moving forward. You get a Pac-12 play. And the Buffaloes saw that on the road last week in Arizona. I mean, it's a grind and a fight every time out. Goals are at a premium. I'll be honest, as good as these two programs are, you know they're offensively capable. I'm shocked it's 2-0. And it's been 2-0 since the 11:35 mark of the match. I mean, I didn't expect Colorado to come out and pump 2 goals on the board quite that quickly. A great start for the Buffaloes. This one's coming to you, Brad. Play it out.
I might make a play here. It's off the tent.
If we wouldn't have had the tent today, you could have headed that.
Yeah, could have sent it right back in play.
That does continue our season-long streak of damage to the broadcast position in every Buffaloes home match. So that damage brought to you by whatever insurance company. Name one.
We'll take them all.
No, don't name one.
I was steering clear of that.
Unknown insurance company.
We do have a great seat over here, a beautiful facility at Prentup Field. We should mention, although you see the sunshine, there was a downpour about 2 hours prior to the match. Pretty heavy storm and a lot of rain, although it wasn't very long. The length didn't include a ton of precipitation, but there was heavy rain when it did come down here, and they water the field, they water everything here at Prentup beforehand, so I'm not sure it's going to play a huge factor on this grass surface, but we'll keep our fingers crossed for no more of that type of weather coming through here. But there was some rain coming through early, a couple hours before kickoff.
I was here for the Missouri match this year, and there was a lightning delay on that one. It was about an 88, 90-degree day, blue skies, some lightning happened back over the Flatirons, and of course they go to the 30-minute protocol, and you have to have certain distance of clearance from lightning strikes and all that. So yeah, today I thought, oh, here we go again with another delay. But last time it happened, it was to the Buffs' benefit. They scored 3 goals in the first 12 minutes and change against Missouri after a lightning delay. They struck quickly after that one. Today's weather was not looking at all pleasant, and now it turned into a beautiful day. Temperatures dipping down, I think up, upper 60s, low 70s. It's kind of where we're going to end up today. It was about perfect. Won't be long before, both these programs in the NCAA tournament last year. In fact, Washington State for the first time ever made the 3rd round last year, got 2 wins in the tournament. How about the complete turn in the season, in a college soccer season? You start off, you're in 90-some degree weather. By the time you're done, you're playing in snow. And Buffalo's hoping to be playing in snow again this year.
It's part of fall sports, right? The fall season, when you're in the NCAA tournament, you're into winter at that point with some snow and rain, but they'll take it. That's where they want to be playing. That's when you want to be out there, but certainly different conditions than you start the season off and go through all that training and preseason, and you're out there sweating before school even starts, and then next thing you know, you're in the NCAA tournament. These two programs ranked 7th for Washington State and 20th for the Buffs. Certainly headed there again.
Cougars have made 6 of the last 7 NCAA tournaments. They missed in 2016. Buffalo's missed in 2015. They've been in 4 of the last 5 tournaments, Colorado. But for Washington State, this is their highest ranking ever. They're in 6 of the past 7 NCAAs. They made the 3rd round last year. And this is impressive build-up. Todd Schulenberger, 4th season. John Harvey, a 5th-year assistant coach. Greg Sheen on the staff. And the Cougars have a win over UCLA already this year on the road at UCLA, a 1-0 win. They beat UCLA last year at home in Pullman 1-0. Actually, Coach Schulenberger said, last year I thought we were the better team. We won 1-0. He goes, honestly, this year I thought UCLA was a little better team, but we did what we had to do to get the win.
This one available in front there. Tompkins eventually covers it, but some dangerous times for that Buffs defense is 2 great opportunities for the Cougars.
Elise Bennett, the sophomore, was loose in the middle for Washington State. She was very active against Oregon State last Sunday, was Elise Bennett. She had an attempt that rebounded to O'Neal for a goal. And then Bennett was also taken down by the goalkeeper on an attack, and it set up a free kick for Haro, who scored. So Bennett didn't score against Oregon State, but she really created both opportunities. she was looking point blank on that last one. She's a dominant force in the middle for the Cougars, is Elise Bennett.
Bennett, 3 goals, 1 assist, 7 points on the season. Sophomore from Wisconsin, 5'10".
I appreciate Molly Myers out of Oceanside, California, the freshman. She wanted us to check her in. We sent her on to the right authorities.
We sent her towards midfield there. She'll get checked in.
Also, Ebony Clark going to come off the bench here, the freshman from British Columbia. So Cougars got a couple of subs waiting on the side.
Bennett applying some pressure there. Buffs trying to get it out. They get it to midfield. Baucom to Massey in the midfield.
It's fun watching Baucom handle the ball.
Here's another look at that one. Off the near post. Tompkins again diving and covering the goal. Made it to the post.
So a couple of times the framing has come into play for Washington State. Once off of the crossbar on a Tompkins deflection that was a mishandle by JJ.
Korniak going to be whistled there for the foul.
Well, Taylor, her senior year at Coronado High School in Henderson, Nevada. High school senior year, 54 goals, 12 assists that year. She's the Nevada Player of the Year. That was a handful of years back now. She's a junior here in Boulder now, but 54 goals in a season. That's pretty fun.
That's unheard of. That's crazy. This year, 9 goals. Excuse me, 4 goals to go along with 9 assists, 17 points.
And she added that one today. Korniak started the scoring, assisted by Greening. There's Jessie Lauren. That's another freshman. What an impact. I was talking to Coach Sanchez about Jessie earlier today, and she's been another, you were talking about kind of those rocks in the defense, those stalwarts back there, and especially young players. You get these freshmen. Lauren, she got a goal earlier this year, but her calling card has really been keeping that defense sturdy, especially with Hannah Cardenas gone. Man, I love watching Jessie Lauren play.
It's really impressive when you talk about some of these freshmen that come in and the impact. They're highly recruited. We know the success. You talked about Korniak and the success she had in high school, but you look at this back line right now, you've got Kaylee Webb and Jessie Lauren, 2 center backs that are both freshmen and both anchoring the defense there, obviously with Tompkins back there, but it's impressive to see those. You had Cardenas last year playing all 22 matches as freshman at center back, so Danny Sanchez has a lot of weapons to go to, a lot of pieces of versatility that he can go to, and Lauren and Webb are 2 big parts of why this defense has only given up 5 goals on the season.
A couple of California kids enjoying their time now in Boulder, and the machine, you know, really same for Washington State. The machines are running. I mean, they reload. This is reloading time now for both programs. Great job establishing such a presence in the game. And, you know, the club background of Danny Sanchez and Dave Morgan on staff and Jason Green on staff, and Todd Schulenberger no different. He spent a lot of years in club soccer. Coach Schulenberger was in the Atlanta area for a long time. And I was talking to him earlier. He's a Pennsylvania kid.
Robert Morris University.
Did big work in the Atlanta area and in club soccer. And, you know, once you have those roots established, it kind of doesn't matter where you go. Buffalo's again in some trouble here.
Webb tried to clear that one out, and then Weaver got a big left foot at it.
Well, here's what happened earlier for the Cougars of Washington State. They're down 2-0, and let's get another look at this ball off Tompkins' hands up to the crossbar.
Hit the crossbar, comes down. Looks, it's at least it's either all the way in or partially in. I mean, could it be? It has to be all the way across the line.
Yeah,
now.
that
let's
and I would
stitching's
say
everything.
That's great. That's great camera work. And what you cannot see is green between the ball and the white line. There might have been, but that would, I would assume on review that would be an inconclusive, and that would be not enough to overturn the call that was made. Looked like it potentially had some white line on it.
And again, yeah, we can't tell for sure. Obviously, it's not. It wasn't reviewed. So it's going to stand as called. No question about that.
We're reviewing it because we have the benefit of doing that as we take in the images, but that's not that system not being used in this match. So that part of it wouldn't have mattered. But I would, in my mind, there, if you did review that, I don't think you could overturn that.
It was a great angle. I mean, it wasn't right down the end line. I guess that would be the perfect angle, but it was a pretty good angle from our crew, and they slowed it down as much as they could. So you got to have indisputable video evidence.
Is that one where only J.J. Tompkins knows? She ain't saying.
Well, she saved it.
I think she knows. I think she knows it wasn't. Yeah, I think she knows it was not a goal. And of course, Washington State was vocal about that, as they should have been. That was. You're gonna. Whoever doesn't get that call is gonna need to make some noise about it. But that's how close it was to being 2-1.
29, Alicia Overland, a redshirt junior from Moses Lake, Washington, has checked in. Bennett has checked out. Overland, a forward. Sophia Weiner, 24, and I don't want to leave her out of the mix. We were talking about freshmen along that backfield there for the Buffs. 24 is a redshirt freshman, but when you look at that Greening, the senior on the far side, and two true freshmen center backs, and then a fullback here on the near side, a Weiner, a redshirt freshman. So very young back there, but very talented for this Buff squad.
I don't think, take inventory here. I don't think we've seen Kelsey Ackness yet today. Kelsey is upper class. She's a junior, but another big-time defender, has put in a lot of good minutes for the defense of the Buffaloes.
It's going to be a corner kick for the Cougars. Waiting to see who goes over to take the kick.
Who's heading over there? Good investigative work by our crew in the control room. Sydney Pulver, the sophomore out of Regis Jesuit in Parker, Colorado, took that shot that we just showed you again that went off of Tompkins' hands and off the crossbar. That was Pulver on the shot. Nearly went in. Now the corner coming from the Cougars.
Haro is going to bend this one into the middle of the box, up high. Was number 23, Minnis, Colorado native. She streaks back to get back on defense, but she had an opportunity there, ended up sending it right to Tompkins. Let's take another look. Beautiful ball in, coming right at you. Minnis, and just didn't get quite the touch on it, the header on it that she wanted. That was right to Tompkins.
Maddie Haro, number 19, the senior, took that corner for the Cougars, and she's the one we were talking about earlier. 9 assists on the season, tied with Taylor Korniak for number 1 in the Pac-12, number 2 in the NCAA with those 9 assists. Haro, left foot, so dangerous from the corner. Had a career-high 7 assists last season, did Haro, and she's already passed that mark this year with 9 in Haro's senior campaign.
And we mentioned how long it took, who was going to head over there, who was going to take it, and then after a ball like that, you're like, I'm sure there's no dispute.
Right. It wasn't like we were trying to decide. We know who's going. I think they were waiting to kind of get themselves set up and
just see which play they wanted to run at that point. Right, but that was a beautiful corner, and you mentioned all the assists, 9, so certainly she's been setting up her teammates all season long.
Now, Haro, one of 5 awards from the Pac-12 earned by the Cougars so far this season on those weekly awards. Haro was the Defensive Player of the Week, August 21 at the start of the season. There have been 16 awards made this season. Or I'm sorry, make that, 18 awards, I guess. There's been 6 weeks, and every week there's an offensive, a defensive, and a goalkeeper of the week. So 18 across the entire conference players have been awarded with weekly awards. 5 of those, 5 of the 18 have gone to Cougars. They've been chewing up the awards this year.
Well, I guess when you win 10 of your first 10, that's probably going to happen.
Doing some award-worthy things.
Certainly. The only unbeaten, untied team in the country right now, the Washington State Cougars. However, they are down 2-0 to the Colorado Buffaloes, who are also unbeaten. A number of subs coming in for the Buffs.
Libby Garrity checking in, redshirt freshman from Cherry Creek High School. Greenwood Village also in is Stephanie Zuniga and Marty Pukitapu onto the pitch. And we're talking about corners. Let's get Zuniga one of those. She had that corner kick goal against Michigan State. Let's do that again, Stephanie.
That's one you'll remember forever.
Well, the other one you'll remember forever is Pukitapu on her 21st birthday scored a goal. She wears number 21, but she got a birthday goal on birthday number 21. We had a post-game interview with her. I believe she should be the post-game interview no matter what. After volleyball matches, after football, whatever, it should be Marty Pukitapu. She was phenomenal. She's got the accent. She's from New Zealand, but she's got just great energy, great personality, and a lot of soccer talent on top of that. Marty's out there now getting her first look today.
And speaking of energy, Zuniga, 19, brings a lot of energy to the game, a little instant offense when she comes in. So it's somewhat of an embarrassment of riches when you're Danny Sanchez and you're bringing in some of these players off the bench. You brought in 3 players, and they're all extremely talented and have got the job done in their own right in each spot. So you're talking about Garrity.
There's a slip down. There's that wet turf possibly coming into play.
Overland trying to get a shot just over the crossbar that time. The reserve forward into the contest and ripping that one. She does have 2 goals on the season.
Kaylee Webb lost her footing, and that opened up a gap. Tompkins went up tall on this and just over the crossbar. Good opportunity for the Cougars.
Tompkins there able to cover. She was a little bit lower. Out off the head of Korniak and out of play.
Finally figured it out. All season I've been looking. Here comes a couple of Cougar subs. We get right there. It's like Haley Smith, freshman forward coming in, and
Weaver subs out. Just one sub. 14 was Molly Myers was over here handling the ball as it went out of play there. Korniak going to be whistled for another foul as Overland goes down.
Korniak playing a physical game in this one. She went down in a heap a couple of times on opportunities in front of the offensive goal for the Buffaloes, and put a lot of body on the Cougars too. She decided to come out and establish her presence, and it's clean play, but it's physical play from Korniak.
No question about it. The Mac Herman watch list going to the top soccer player in the country as we've got a foul. This one going against Washington State, and Pukitapu, the player down right now for the Buffs. And quickly, the trainer coming out for CU.
Yeah, the official was asked Marty, "Do you need a trainer?" And she shook her head yes quickly.
Just into the match.
Was on the Pac-12 all-freshman team last year. Marty Pukitapu led CU with 8 goals, 18 points. Was second in the Pac-12 last year in game-winning goals with 5 of those. And now in her sophomore year, a key contributor for Danny Sanchez, Marty Pukitapu, being tended to now.
Brad Thompson, Thad Anderson here with you on Pac-12 Plus. It's 2-0 Buffs with the lead. We've got an injury stoppage going on right now as the Buffs head over to the bench to talk things over as the training staff checks out Marty Pukitapu.
Marty, like she wants to sit up. I just hate to see this. Buffalo's have had their share of not just injuries, but key injuries so far this year, with Korniak going out, Greening out. They've both returned, but you got Cardenas out. Pukitapu not putting any weight on that left leg. Being assisted off on each shoulder.
foul. It's not what you want to see for anybody.
Man, it's been high-speed, aggressive play all day long. You just had two players converging on a ball right there. Washington State will sub. They're going to send in a freshman defender, Ileli Rebriza is on for Washington State. And you got for the Buffaloes, the replacement for Marty Pukitapu is a sophomore, Katie Joella out of Mountain Vista High School in Highlands Ranch, Colorado. Sophomore Katie Joella now on with Marty Pukitapu out due to injury.
Get the clock started again here as soon as Tompkins toes it.
What do you think? Goal for JJ right here?
Well, both keepers have an
in.
assist. when you look at the stat sheet, Tompkins and Watson both have an assist on the season. This one's not going to have the distance.
You know, the breeze prevailing, well, it's more than a breeze. Down here, it feels like a breeze. If you look up top of the scoreboard, it's a wind. And you could see as soon as that ball got up for Tompkins, it just got knocked back down and started heading its way back toward her. Pretty stout wind up higher.
There's a look at the flags here at Prentup Field. Kinsler in the middle of the Korniak. She's got some room. Going to play it up ahead. Garrity leaves this one in the middle, and it got punched out of there, trying to find Joella. It's going to go out of bounds. Garrity will leave it off. Garrity, the guest on This Week in Colorado Soccer, hosted by our producer, Eric Poloni. Check that out on Facebook every Monday. Coach Danny Sanchez is with Eric as this one's sent to Thompson. She handles that along the near post. And Libby Garrity was a guest this week on the show.
What do you think? Would Poloni be, what position would he take for us on an 11? Is he a goalkeeper, do you think?
Could be a keeper, you know, could be a full left or right, maybe, a backfield.
Got to get him in the alumni game. Got a bunch in town this weekend, right? A bunch of alums hanging out.
That's right. Alumni weekend for the women's soccer program. Washington, the Huskies, 2 p.m. on Sunday.
And Washington's sitting at 2 wins, 1 loss in conference right now. The Buffaloes at 1-0-2. I mean, you like not losing, but they talk about muddling up those standings right out of the box, get a couple of ties in. So Colorado up, you know, in upper position in the conference right now with the 1-0-2. Washington State sitting at 3-0 in conference play. Stanford also up there atop the heap, but the battle already setting up nicely. This is a big weekend for Colorado soccer with the Washington schools coming through town.
2 great programs, the Huskies and the Cougars. That one's played out along the bleachers on the far side.
I was talking to some of the Cougars fans out at their tailgate, their large tailgate out in the parking lot today. They're talking about Washington State hasn't lost to the Huskies in 10 years. And they said it won't be this year. That string ain't in it this year.
That's remarkable when you think about that rivalry and how long the Cougars have been on top. And this year, again, 7th in the country, unbeaten, untied, 10-0. As we've got a foul, that's going to go against Kia McLinn, sophomore from Long Beach, California.
McLinn was the Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Week, September 25, yet another of the weekly awarded Cougars. That was Bauckham who went down. She took a moment to get up, but she's up and at it. Looks like she's coming out of that okay. The Buffaloes have a couple of subs ready. Nancy Best is waiting along with Cheney Kingsbury. So Best is a senior and Kingsbury a freshman. We'll get both ends of the class spectrum on the next sub in for the Buffaloes. Kingsbury a flip thrower, so let's get her a couple. That's always fun to watch.
Oh yeah, especially late in the half, a little extra pressure on the offense of the Buffs. We're approaching 5 minutes remaining here before the half. Garrity to Joella, working inside through traffic. Buffs were looking for a call there as Joella went down.
Joella with some quick feet. She moves well, and I think they were all, everybody on the Buffalo side was looking for a stop, but no call came. Fresh legs, though. Joella recently in, and somebody going to add a little pressure that Buffaloes have done a good job applying all throughout the first half.
Seen a number of subs for both teams, but certainly for Colorado, they've got a bunch of depth. Let's take another look as Joella trying to get through traffic there. The defender stopping the ball there initially and then got tangled up.
Well, Cougars, you're talking about depth. Cougars too deep at every position. They have 30 on the roster. They're here on the mountain swing, and so you can say what you want, but it does have an effect, the altitude, because they'll be in Salt Lake on Sunday. A couple of days off between matches, but that will play to the Cougars' benefit, not only on this mountain swing, but throughout the season, that deep roster they've got. And they'll deploy that today, this top 25 matchup. What a great start for Colorado today. They got their first goal at 1:21 into the clock, and then they got their second goal at 11:35 into the clock, and established themselves early, which they've done so often this year.
It's been that early offense. That has been the recipe for this Buff squad. Scoring early and scoring often. And then, you know, some games they've kind of hung on or it's been a draw. Other games they've just blown out their opponents. A couple 6-0 victories.
Yeah, one in conference against Oregon State. Here's Joella taking the ball.
She does look fresh. Look at her go through traffic there. Able to draw the foul.
Yeah, see, look at this. See this right after she kind of raises her arms like, it can't stop me. Get that whistle out. Only thing that stopped me is them grabbing you. It's work by Katie. You come in on an injury sub for Marty Pukitapu, and this is a great example of, you know, be ready when your moment comes. And Katie's presence has been well known since she arrived in place of Pukitapu.
On the whistle? Yes, yes, thank you.
Korniak and Zuniga
Molly, with me. Molly.
lining up this free kick. We'll see who takes it. The right foot of Taylor Korniak, the left foot of Stephanie Zuniga. Or maybe a combination. Korniak walks into it, drills it.
Great job, Molly.
Got deflected back out.
Molly, great job.
Ouch.
Greening couldn't come up with that one. It goes all the way back to Lauren. Let's take another look.
Maddie pulled off that one on the way in after she heard the thud of Korniak's foot. And Bockham was fouled moments ago over here, and then there was some frustration mixed in with that one. Down went Akila McLean. Another nice crowd assembled. This is an early match on a Thursday in Boulder, and as usual, Buffaloes and the Cougars brought some fans today too, and people got a little spirited on this last bit. We're gonna get a couple more minutes of play in the first half, and it looks like the intensity is gonna be high.
And that's what you'd expect between two top 20 programs here. This one's sent on, but well wide along the far side from Myers.
Taylor Korniak is out there laughing and head bobbing, talking to Jorian Bockham. Here come Best and Kingsbury. Bockham's gonna leave, as is Sarah Kinsner. We have Katie Jones, the junior for Washington State, was also waiting to check in. She's on now.
Bockham comes out. The second goal of the day for the Buffs. Very early on, if you're just joining us, the Buffs made it 2-0. It was 1-0 after less than 2 minutes of play. Then in the 12th minute, Jorian Balka made it 2-0. And the Cougars have had some chances, two off the post, one crossbar, one near post, and the bounce did not go their way. Now we've got under 60 seconds remain here before halftime. Throw in all the way into the box. Haley Smith, a freshman from San Jose, California, 17, recently into the contest. Not a flip throw, but able to get the distance on that one in deep there, all the way from the sideline. Now Tompkins across midfield.
Coming left, Grace, left, Grace.
Buffalo's trying to mount one more attack here. About 15 seconds left before the halftime horn. Colorado leading 2-0 on top of the visiting Washington State Cougars.
Final few seconds here of the first half. There's the horn after 45 minutes of action here from Boulder. The 20th ranked Colorado Buffaloes to the 7th ranked Washington State Cougars, nothing. Korniak and Baucom, your 2 goal scorers for the Buffaloes. And the fans enjoying it, 2-0 Buffs.